Hello and welcome. My name is Stephen and I'm a Principal Consultant here at ACG. Today, I'm going to show you how to set up a trigger process in Cognos Command Center. Let's get started. Here's a typical example of how a Cognos Command Center trigger can be used. As you can see on the left-hand side, we have our on-prem data warehouse, and on the right-hand side is our TM1 database residing on the cloud. In this scenario, the flat files are being dropped from the data warehouse into a local shared network drive before being pushed to the cloud. The trick here is knowing when the files have been dropped. In this demonstration, we'll create a trigger process to monitor the shared network drive. Once the files have been dropped, Cognos Command Center will automatically execute a TI process and load the data into the cubes. In this simple demonstration, I will configure Cognos Command Center to load the FX rates into this cube as soon as the file has been dropped. On the left-hand side is my FX rates flat file that will represent my text file from my data warehouse. The drop file location folder will represent my shared network drive. This will be the location that Cognos Command Center will be monitoring via a trigger process. Once the file is dropped, Cognos Command Center will execute a TI process and load the FX rates into the queue. The Cognos Command Center will then move the test file into an archive folder. So the first step is to create a new process in Cognos Command Center that will execute the TI process to load the FX rates into the queue. We are going to name our process Load FX. Next, assign the TI process that will load the FX file into the FX queue, like so. Make sure you assign the correct computing resource where your TI is located. Navigate to the TI process called Load FX Rates, and then give it a meaningful name. Okay, so now we have the process in place to load the file once it's been dropped. Our next step is going to remove the text file from the folder location and then save that into an archive folder. Moving the file is optional, but I've added this feature here to demonstrate how you can move files around, either prior to loading data, such as moving files from on-prem to the cloud, or after a process has been run and you wish to archive your source files. Go to File, Utilities, Move. Enter the location of the source data directory. In our example, it's the dropped file location. You can provide the exact file name, or in this example, any file that resides in this folder. Next, key in your target location. For us, this will be our archive folder. I'm going to set this to overwrite any files that may already exist. This is optional. We have now completed the Cognos Command Center process that tells the system what to do once the file has been dropped. Our final step is to create the trigger process itself. Right-click, Create New Trigger Process. Again, give the trigger process a meaningful name. Assign the agent that has access to the file drop location. Next, key in the location of where the files will be dropped into. This will be the location that Cognos Command Center will be monitoring. Set file action to File Created. So anytime a new file is created, it will trigger our process. The polling interval informs Cognos Command Center how often to check for the file. I'm going to set this to 0. Next, go to the Action tab. From here, select the Cognos Command Center process we just created earlier and select Load FX. Set the environment to default. And finally, activate the trigger. We are now ready for the file to be dropped. I will be manually dropping this FX rate file into our drop location to simulate the action of our data warehouse, like so. I'm going to monitor our process from the Process Overview section here. Immediately, I can see the trigger process has found the new file and is now loading the flat file into the queue. Once the file has been loaded, we can see when the file has been moved to the archive folder. Our process is now complete. Let's take a quick look to see if the file has been moved to the archive folder. There it is. Now, if we refresh our cube, there is our FX data. And that completes our tutorial on how to set up and configure a trigger process in Cognos Command Center. Thank you for listening. We hope you found this tutorial helpful. If you have any questions on what we have shown you today, or if you have any suggestions on other topics you would like to see in these videos, please contact us using the details on the screen. Thank you.